So, in this session, we're going to continue discussing and reflecting on Surat Ar-Rahman. Inshallah, we'll try to complete it by today. And we also going to try to discuss the name of Allah, Dhul Jalal wal Ikram, which is also mentioned in Surat Ar-Rahman 2 times. It's the only time that Ismullah Dhul Jalal wal Ikram has mentioned is only in this surah. So we're gonna discuss it and see how we can reflect it or do tasbeeh with it in our daily life. Okay. So in the beginning, since it's Eid al-Adha, I wish you all Eid Mubarak, and I wanted to discuss a little bit about the meaning of al-Udhiyah, the sacrifice that we give, or the Prophet Ibrahim gave to Allah when Allah asked him or give him the ru'ya that he need to kill his son. But then Allah said, it's okay, you can kill other type of an an'am, and whether sheep or something else, instead of your son. And I love to think more about the idea of it, because it's the main thing that we are celebrating. Eid al-Adha. Adha in Arabic, or Udhiyah, is something you sacrifice for Allah, something you give to Allah. And when we think about it, like Ibrahim got his son in a very old age. So some of the scholars, they said he got too much attached to his son. That's why Allah wants him to have detachment from this and only be attached to him. So that's why he asked him to do the most sacrifice toward him. When you love someone and you feel, okay, it's very hard to kill your son by your own hand, but it's only to obey the order of Allah. So when I think about it, it's something Allah is teaching us, that everything you get attached to, everything you get so much drawn to, that it might make you be away from Allah, something other than Allah. It's something gonna be torture, and something you gonna Allah will always trying to call you back to Him and let you be only get attached to Allah. So and in this sense, like, what can we do as a Muslim nowadays of learning from this story? From my perspective, I feel like anything we are attached to, these times of Eid al-Adha, these times of Arafah, these times of Hajj, it's good to think about something we are attached to other than Allah and trying to let go of it, trying to sacrifice for Allah, for the sake of Allah. It could be a goal, it could be a person, it could be a feeling, it could be a materialistic thing. Anything you feel like you try to notice yourself getting too much attached to, which is giving you or harming you, or giving you in a very bad way eventually. Try to think about it. Okay, what can I do to do the detachment to this person, to this materialistic thing, to this goal, to Allah, for the sake of Allah in these days? So we're actually applying the same concept of what Ibrahim alayhi salam did when Allah ordered him to kill his son. So try to think of anything you feel it's given you this attachment. You have been drawing to it too much, that it might make you occupied for like worshiping Allah or doing dhikr or doing, you feel like it occupies the most of your life. Try to see it, how can I release that attachment a little bit, letting go of this attachment for the sake of Allah in these blessing days. It's a good thing to think about, and anything you let go for Allah, Allah definitely will reward you for something better. If you have the right intention to it, if you have the right intention that I'm doing it only for Allah, and I'm doing it because I don't want to be occupied and get busy and these things that Allah has created it for us. Like again, this is another reminder that we're living in this dunya, and Allah has given us all type of blessing, whether it's kids, whether it's family, whether it's a partner, whether it's money, whether it's any type of things Allah has given us. Allah is keep reminding us, don't be occupied by this blessing I give you, and try to focus on the main goal in life, which is to do worship, or to worship Allah, to obey the order, and to, it's like a test. To pass the test is you need to have to be aware of or avoid the distractions that gonna distract you to the end goal, which is doing good deeds in this dunya, so you will be rewarded with Jannah and avoid Jahannam. So Allah is always reminding you, don't get occupied or busy or blinded by the blessing I'm giving you and think this is the main thing in life. And this is where the attachment become, is when you get too much occupied with the blessings that you have, and you forget the main purpose that Allah has created you here, which is to be ni'mal khalifa, ni'mal al-abd, the good worshipper of Allah, and do good in earth, and then or do good to people also, and obey Allah with the order that He give you, to be able to live the life that it does not end, which is in hayat al-dunya. So here is only temporary. Hayat dunya is only for amount of time, but the life that is the real one is the life after. So you need to focus on the bigger picture and the end goal, and not get occupied with the little mini rewards that Allah has given you in this dunya. Okay, and maybe this is one of the things why we are also now sacrificing or giving udhiyah, which is like killing sheep and so on for Allah and spread it to the poor people. It's also another way for us to see that, okay, you need, some people maybe get attached to their money. So you need to pay that money to release this type of attachment and give it to Allah. Try to give to poor people and try to think of other people, or giving in general. I feel like Eids in general has lots of giving. So it's good to have the intention also behind it. Not only, okay, I'm gonna sacrifice and do udhiyah this Eid, but it's just because something we used to do. Try to have the intention behind it. I'm doing this because, for example, I don't want to get attached to my money. I want to spend this money for the sake of Allah. I want to give to poor people, to think about and not be occupied with other blessings in Allah. For example, visiting family in Eid, or doing any type of good deeds. Try to think about it is that you're letting out or letting other things that you get attached to for the sake of Allah, and having the intention that, okay, I'm doing this for you, Allah. It's something that I'm trying to, let's say, sacrifice. Or sacrifices could be a big word, but even with different type of degree, just keep this idea that your intention and the center of intention is Allah for every deeds, everything you do. When you think about that, you will definitely be rewarded for it, and you will see the reward also. But to try to keep it in mind. It's not, sometimes we forget and start to make it as a habit, and we lose track of the intention, or we don't pay attention to our intention in it. While if you make it with intention, it's the real thing. Like, because none of the Islamic things, just sha'air al-Islamiyya, the things that we are Allah has given us to do or ask us to do, is just for that, for no reason. Everything has a reason and logic behind it. So it's good to keep it in mind and always think about it. Okay, so now we're gonna continue Surat Ar-Rahman. Last time we reached, I think, yeah, this ayah. When we talk about, Allah said, استعيذ بالشيطان الرجيم يا معشر الجن والإنس إن استطعتم أن تنفذوا من أقطار السماوات والأرض فانفذوا. لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان. So Allah is talking to jinn and ants and human that if you could get beyond the zones of heaven and earth, okay, or the border of heaven and earth, or the skies and earth, you will not be able to go beyond it until Allah give you the authority of it. And this is can be applied in everything in our life. We cannot do anything if Allah did not allow it. So it's very important to think about you will never be beyond the power of Allah or the authority of Allah. If you did something, always remember that Allah has allowed you to do that, or Allah give you the strength, or Allah give you the will, Allah give you the message, the idea that came to your mind to do this thing, whether it's good or bad. But again, you still have the choice. You have the choice. Allah has given you the power to do, and this is how you're gonna have hisab. So Allah will give you to do this one or to do the other way, the good way or the other way, and you have to choose which path you want to take. But then you will be responsible for that choice in the day after or on the judgment day. And I think there's some scientists they discovered that there is I think a layer in the atmosphere. I think anyone will go there. You cannot go beyond that layer. I'm not sure about the scientific behind it, but they said like if you go behind this layer in the atmosphere, you will get burned or your particle will be exploded because of the different pressure, something like that. So it's also another something interesting that Allah has mentioned it in Qur'an before all of these scientific discovery. Then Allah saying, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. How these blessings are you still denying? Allah said, يُرْسِلُ عَلَيْكُمَا شُوَاظٌ مِّن نَارٍ وَنُحَاسٌ فَلَا تَنْتَصِرَانِ. So Allah will send to these who trying to disobey Allah, let's say, or going beyond the authority of Allah, Allah will send them شُوَاظٌ مِّن نَار. It's like a flame from fire, okay? وَنُحَاس. Nuhas is, they called molten brass, or I think, one second. The cooper. It's similar to the things that you used to use doing making swords in the back days, because it's very strong metal, let's say. So it's similar to the thing that is gonna, if you send it, or if it's an arrow or if it's a sword, it's very sharp or it's very hard that can hit these type of who want to disobey Allah, and you will never be able to defend yourself. فَلَا تَنْتَصِرَانِ. You will not have nasr, you will not have victory, because Allah is above all of that. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Again, Allah is repeating the how could you, or emphasizing on how could you deny that Allah is the one having all these blessings and all these miracles. How come you still not believing that Allah is the creator and Allah will have you in the judgment day and there will be hisab and so on? Then Allah is saying, فَإِذَا انشَقَّتِ السَّمَاءُ فَكَانَتْ وَرْدَةً كَالدِّهَانِ. Okay, and here Allah is starting to say this is the signs of day يوم الآخرة, which is the last day of judgment. Allah is saying is that it's the time where the skies will be split, okay, and it will be similar as فكانت وردة كالدهان. وردة كالدهان, warda is a rose, okay. كالدهان is saying something like painting. So when I look into it to understand it a little bit, I will share with you what I found. So there is other tafsir, other scientists, they said that انشقت السماء, it means that the sky will be open for the angel to go down to earth. Some of them, they said this is the meaning of it. And they said وردة كالدهان is that the sky is red. Hmm. There is different description for both of them. They said it will look like it melted. The sky will look like it has been melted at the painting, and it's the color of it is gonna be red. Hmm. The other scholars they said it could be have many other colors. It could be different colors because the hand painting it could be many different colors. It's not specific to be red, but maybe they said red because it's mentioned rose. وردة كالدهان, so they thought okay maybe if it's rose it means like it could be only red. So there is many different tafsirs they make for this ayah, but it's still not clear on how it's exactly gonna be look. So we're not gonna discuss too much in it because till now I still doing the research in it, but I don't feel that I get to the end of it. I feel something that we can comprehend much better way. Then فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيومئذ لا يسأل عن ذنبه إنس ولا جان. So at the day of judgment, no one will be asked about your sins except a few. Whether it's ins, whether it's human being, whether it's jinn. So, and here is again something we emphasize on is that everyone is responsible for his sins. No one will be accounted or will be charged for someone else's sins. So always remember that. Sometimes we feel like, no, we need to advise people or we need to take responsibility if someone takes do something wrong. No, you need to advise people. That's totally good, and it's a good thing to do, but you don't need to feel responsible for other people's mistake. If they do the mistake, Allah will account them alone by themselves with no one else. Yeah. Okay. So again, Allah is mentioning لا يسأل عن ذنبه إنس ولا جان. Then فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. يعرف المجرمون بسيماهم فيؤخذ بالنواصي والأقدام. So here is Allah saying, the people who committed sins, the people who Allah called them mujrimun. Mujrimun means criminal in English. So in mujrimun, they have many meaning about them. One of them, the one who lost contact with Allah, or they don't have any connection with Allah, whether they do kufr, whether they don't believe in Him, whether they do bad stuff, they do shirk. So al-mujrimun is, we said, the criminal. And what type of crime they do? They do a crime against themselves, not against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do something, they do ظلم النفس. They injustice themselves. So that's why Allah called them mujrimun, criminal. They do the crime against themselves because eventually they will go to hell. They will torture themselves because this is what they do, what they did to themselves. So Allah saying that is يعرف المجرمون, that you will be able to notice these type of people. بسيماهم. Simahum is like something, you know this person from his look. You know this person. And this is something very interesting. If you heard before about the aura, or when you feel, okay, this person I feel comfortable to. I don't know why, I don't know him, but I feel he's a good person. And other person you feel like, oh, this person I don't feel comfortable, or his face doesn't make me comfortable, or maybe feel like there is some kind of darkness or some kind of, I don't know, but sometimes we notice this. You feel like you notice these kind of people, and this is the meaning of simahum. Is something appears, that something you feel it. It might not be very obvious, but sometimes you feel it, and this is the aura. This is the energy is telling. Sometimes The energy and the aura can tell about what is inside this person, if he's a good person or not. It all gets expressed in his face and his body language and so on. So there will be known, they're gonna be known at the end of in the day of judgment. Then Allah is saying, فَيُؤْخَذُ بِالنَّوَاصِي وَالْأَقْدَامِ. And then they will be taken by their forehead. Nawasi is forehead, wal-aqdam, and their feet. Okay? They will be taken to Jahannam from their forehead and by their feet. And the interesting thing is that lots of scientists, they found out, like they start to dig deep. Why Allah is mentioning the forehead? Why he didn't mention, let's say, the head in general, or the hands, from hands and feet, for example? Why Allah only mentioned the nawasi, forehead, and aqdam? They found out that the forehead, the part of the brain in the forehead, is the one responsible for taking choices, and the one responsible for whether you want to say lies or be honest. And they found, like, when someone say lies or say any type of bad things, the neurons in the forehead is the one that activated in the part of the brain. So subhanallah, it's very, very interesting when they found out that this is the one responsible for your action that you did in your dunya. And this is why you are going to be taken by this part who made you, or who is the responsible for your action, is the one who's going to lead you to Jahannam. Subhanallah. And this is before they discover all of that. Like they did all the scientific discovery, and then they found out. And you can go and read lots of articles. You can find it in everywhere, like lots of scientific article is the forehead, the brain forehead is the one responsible for making choices, whether it's a good choice or a bad choice. And this is why it's the reason that's gonna drag you to hell if you choose the bad things or to do sins and so on. And then when you think about the feet, also the feet is the one that's gonna take you to, if you want to go a bad place, if we're gonna talk to which pathway you're gonna go in. Your feet is also responsible to take you. And again, it's all connected. Like if you choose something to do with your forehead, with your brain, your feet then will answer your direction, and you go in the same way. So it's like Allah is actually, this is something now came to me, is combining the brain, the mental part, and the physical part. So you make the decision with your brain, and then you start to have action and physical action with your feet. So Allah is saying both parts will be the one responsible for you to go to hell. And this is why these are the two parts that you're going to be dragged by in the day of judgment and sent to hell. It's so interesting. It's so interesting how Allah is combining all. Allah is saying you will not do something just without thinking. No, your thinking has led you to do the action, the physical action, and then this is what led you to hell. Inshallah, none of us will go there, but it's very important to see the miracles behind how Allah is describing to us, even in details, before all of these discoveries. Imagine this is before 1,400 years and more, before they know what does brain means, or what is inside our skull. Okay. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان هذه جهنم التي يكذب بها المجرمون. So this is the hell that these criminals, these mujrimun, they were denying. So Allah now is showing it. The one you have been denied, this is the real thing. And now this is gonna be your place in the life after. يطوفون بينها وبين حميم آن. So Allah here is describing يطوفون is like tawaf. It's like, when you do tawaf in Kaaba, is you're circling around between the Jahannam and between حميم and حميم and is the boiling water, and this is part of Jahannam also. So and I think when they ask to drink because of the heat of Jahannam, this is the only thing they can drink is something a boiling water. أعوذ بالله منها. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان ولمن خاف مقام ربه جنتان. And here Allah is saying for Jannah and the people who's gonna enter in Jannah. Allah said for the one who fear Allah, fear the place of Allah. See, not only Allah. مقام ربه. مقام is the place, the status of Allah. He will have two paradise or two Jannah. Okay, and this is interesting. Okay, I'm trying to dig deep in it and search more in it, like what is the meaning of two Jannah, but I still didn't have a clear idea. Inshallah, if I have like a much clear idea, we will discuss it. But now let's say there's gonna be two Jannah. Two Jannah, it could be, it doesn't mean two Jannah, we have two Jannah. No, we have one Jannah, but maybe Jannah in Quran also means a park, a garden. So it could be like a two garden. Like for example, there is many rewards in Jannah. Sometimes, or maybe Allah will give you a castle. Or maybe Allah will build you a house. Will build you. So maybe here Allah is saying you will have two gardens or two parks in Jannah. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. Then Allah is continue ذواتا أفنان. These two gardens, you will have branches. Afnan is something like the greens that it has many branches, whether trees, with any type of things that it has many branches. I will search more, let's say, exactly in Afnan's meaning. Yeah, they said that these type of trees that it has in this garden, it will hold branches with fruits that is well done, that is ready to be eaten. So afnan means like the garden that is in the season, that it has all the fruits and vegetables, not the one that in the autumn season, or let's say a dead branches. No, it's a very good branches and fruits in it. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. فيهما عينان تجريان. So they will have, both of them, they will have two springs that's flowing. Okay. So again, this indicates the meaning of two Jannat is gardens. Like, so now Allah is describing the garden that Allah will give to the people who fear Allah and fear the place of Allah. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. فيهما من كل فاكهة زوجان. So it has from each type of fruit, it have two pairs. Okay. And when I try to think and reflect about it, I start to think about, you remember in the science class when we used to study, there is from different type of plant, there is male and female part, like even whether it's in the same planet or in different planet. So there is always female and male part. So zawjan, when I think about it, that means maybe it has the female part or the male part also. So this is one of the things that I tried to think about. Other scholars, they said that it's from all different type of fruits. That's why they said zawjan, that all different types of fruits. Like for example, apple has many types. So maybe in that meaning that they have all different types of apple, the green one, the red one, the little bit red with yellow, every type of fruits you will have. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. Then متكئين على فرش بطائنها من استبرق. وَجَنَى الْجَنَّتَيْنِ دَانٍ. Here Allah describing the people of Jannah who are gonna enter the Jannah. How they gonna be? They gonna be laying down, okay, in couches or فرش, let's say mattress. The بطائنها is the thing inside of it. بطائنها, when you say بطائن, the origin of it is بطن, which means the inside of it. Okay, من استبرق. استبرق is the silk. So inside the mattress there will be silk. So imagine how soft it's gonna be. They will be lying on a mattress filled with silk. وجن الجنتين دان. And all of these two gardens, the fruit of them, there will be near to the hand to pick from them. Dan, it means دنو, يعني يدنو, which is mean close. Okay, so Jannah al-Jannatain is the result or the product of these two gardens will be close to them. So here Allah is describing to you the visuals. How you gonna be in Jannah, laying down on a silk mattresses, and you will be able, or the fruits of this garden will be able and close to you for you to pick. How beautiful it is. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيهن قاصرات الطرف لم يطمثهن إنس قبلهم ولا جان. And here is the main topic, let's say. And this is something I made lots of research, and I'm still researching, to be honest. So here Allah is talking about الحور العين. قاصرات الطرف, okay? And unfortunately, lots of them, they said it's only the wives that's the male's gonna get in Jannah. While Allah did not mention that قاصرات الطرف only for male. And this is something very, very important, because there is many, and he didn't say that it's gonna be, Allah said, okay, sometimes they mix between the word زوجناهم. There is ayah زوجناهم بحور العين. But there is also other ayah, Allah is mentioning that وَإِذَا النُّفُوسُ زُوِّجَتْ. So the word زوجت أو زوجناهم in Qur'an has different meaning. One of them is to connect. زوجناهم is connect something with another thing. Okay? And not necessarily the marriage meaning. So it's very important to look where did that word came from, or which ayah that this word came from, and trying to understand it better. Okay? Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, most of them, they connected to, okay, this is gonna be your wife and you will have sexual intercourse. While honestly, there is another thought that they think about. Why would you need sex in heaven? Allah will give you anything you want in heaven. And any type, you always gonna have pleasure. You always gonna have happiness. You always, why do you need sex? Like sex and sleep and doing every type of thing. This is from dunya. This is from your animal body needs, not your spiritual needs. So there is big difference is that why would you need a wife there? And they mentioned lots of ayahs that Hur al-Ain is actually girls under 10 years old. Uraban atraba. In Arabic, that means Uraban is the girl that under 10 years old. So it has many, many different meaning. It's so beautiful. Like when I search about it, like there is so many other meaning, unfortunately. Maybe because lots of the scholars and the people who spread hadith, they were men. That's why, unfortunately, there was so many misconception, and they make it only for men. While Allah, when he talk about heaven, he doesn't say for men will get this, for male will get this, for female will get this. Allah did not mention anything when he talk about the blessing of or the reward you're gonna get in heaven. Allah is talking in general for everyone. He is not taking Okay, for them they're gonna get this. He's not separating women and men in Jannah with a different type of rewards. So this is another thing to think about. Things are not mentioned because maybe a woman who wouldn't want to be married did have it, or just not mentioned because the description wouldn't be um wouldn't be injustice. Yani how amazing it will be. Exactly. Exactly. It's very interesting and it has been hidden, you know, the meaning of it, like they also okay, be patient, you will have hur al ain. You feel like and lots of women unfortunately they start to have, let's say, feeling injustice, like why Allah will give men hur ain and will not give us other things. And then as a other word they say you will only get your husband or nothing else. So there's lots of injustice, and Allah is just justice for all of us. So how come there is something shady? That's why it needs lots of research, and there's many other sheikhs like they're trying to discuss the meaning of this ayah with the correlation with other ayahs I had mentioned. So from what I reach, and yeah, and Allah here is mentioning لم يطمثهن إنس قبلهم ولا جان. لم يطمثهم, that means they didn't have a sexual intercourse with anyone, whether it's a human or jan. So one of the sheikhs, they said, the scholars, they said, this is an indication you will not have sex with them. Lam is forbidden, is say no, nefi. That means you will not either before them, and that it's not for sexual purpose. That's maybe Allah is mentioning this. Why did He mention that? It's very important, and He will repeat it again. He repeated actually in another ayah later on in the same surah. So maybe because Allah knows that people will think they are for sexual purpose, but Allah has emphasized it's not. That's why he's mentioning لم يطمثهن إنس قبلهم ولا جان. Okay. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان كأنهن الياقوت والمرجان. So they are similar to what? Similar to the precious gems, okay, or stones, yaqut wal murjan, rubies and coral. Okay, so now when I think about it, there is another ayah. Allah is mentioning the young kids. يطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون كأمثال اللؤلؤ المكنون. Is the servant in Jannah will be a young kids, okay? They look like birds. Allah has tell he make this tashbih, let's say. So another scholar, they said also maybe this hur al-ain is actually the servant in Jannah. They will be young girls. And now Allah is mentioning similarity, that it's gonna be like the gems or stones, beautiful and precious stones. So when you think about it, like Allah is saying, there will be servant boys looks like birds, and servant looks girls, young girls, that they look like gems or stones or precious stones. I feel like there are similarities between the two of them. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان. Do you think is the reward of being good and doing ihsan is not gonna be less than ihsan? Like Allah is telling, like, how would you? It's like a wondering question. If you do good, do you think you will not get good? If you do ihsan, do you think you will not get ihsan? Like it's something for sure you're gonna get this one. And this is why Allah is mentioning the beauty of Jannah, the beauty of heaven. Allah is mentioning how ihsan He's gonna give us in Jannah. How the ihsan of Allah how is gonna appear in Jannah. And this is how He's describing Jannah. Because of what we did in ihsan in dunya. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان ومن دونهما جنتان. Then Allah is mentioning there is another two gardens you're gonna have. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. So now we have four gardens. This is an amazing thing, okay? مدهامتان. Mudhammatan, they said it's dark green in color. That means it's so full of trees and greens, and it's very healthy nature, or like a very good status of the trees and so on. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. Okay. Again, Allah saying فيهما عينان نضاختان. It will also have two springs that flowing. Okay, that means very good springs. Al-Ain is the place where the water will come out. So Allah is mentioning there will be lots of water or flowing. Not like because Al-Ain, sometimes some of the springs will stop producing water because it's done. All the water in the earth is enough. But this one Allah saying is it's going to be a very good shape. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيهما فاكهة ونخل ورمان. Allah is mentioning it has fruit, palms, okay, and rumman, pomegranate. And when you think about it, why Allah, like we see pomegranate is part of the fruits. Why Allah separated it and mentioned it in a separate way? Is it not a fruit? It's something to think about. I'm not sure. But what we can benefit from this is the benefit of pomegranate, like the fruit itself. We remember when we mentioned anything is mentioned separately. We think we mentioned some fruit earlier. الحب والعصف والريحان, I think. We mentioned that. And also, like, for example, teen. Any type of fruits or thing that Allah mentioned in Qur'an, I believe, my perspective, it has a huge benefit. That's why Allah is mentioning by its name. So it's something to look into it. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيهن خيرات حسان. Again, Allah is mentioning خيرات حسان, and here they said it's حور العين. And we're still thinking about it. And they said خيرات حسان, they're good and beautiful. حسان from حسن, from being something beautiful, something very good. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان حور مقصورات في الخيام. Okay, and here, as we mentioned, some of them they think it's the حور العين, and they're mentioning they will be in tent, or they will be sitting in tent. خيام is خيمة, is tent. And other scholars and scientists, they said حور, actually it could be, it meant a water flow, like a river. So there is different also type of meanings, but I'm still doing a research about that. But it's good to see all different meaning and try to see which one. And this is tadabbur and tafakkur, trying to listen from everyone and see what is you are believing in, or what you feel like more comfortable, that makes sense to you. And this is the effort of you do. Yani, this is the tafakkur. Allah will reward you for the tafakkur and the effort that you're trying to understand Quran. It's not the thing that you need to reach the correct answer, but it's the effort, the sa'i you are doing to understand the Quran. Again, Allah is mentioning لم يطمثهن إنس قبلهم ولا جان. Allah is repeating that they never had sexual intercourse before, whether it's human or jinn. So this is another important. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان متكئين على رفرف خضر وعبقري حسان. So also they will be laying or resting down on the cushions or mattresses. They're green. خضر is green. Okay. وعبقري حسان. Okay. And they'll be rich, beautiful mattresses. I want to search more about the meaning of عبقري حسان. عبقري is in Arabic, that means genius. Okay. But it might have different meaning in Arabic. The Arabic الفصحى. Okay, there's one saying, they said it's the carpet. The carpet that there will be there, it will be very beautiful. Hussan, that means it's beautiful. I'm gonna search in another tafsir. One second. Yeah, the other one also is mentioning it's carpets. So عبقريين in original Arabic is carpet. So he's mentioning the mattress and the carpet of it all. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. Then تبارك اسم ربك ذي الجلال والإكرام. And this is why I choose the name of Allah ذي الجلال والإكرام. Actually, it's only mentioned the name of Allah ذي الجلال والإكرام only in Surat Ar-Rahman, in the whole Qur'an. And it's mentioned 2 times. In the last ayah, تبارك اسم ربك ذي الجلال والإكرام. And I think in ayah ويبقى وجه ربك ذي yes, in ayah 27 ويبقى وجه ربك ذي الجلال والإكرام. Okay, what is the difference between both of this? ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. وجه ربك, it means the presence of Allah. It does not mean the face of Allah, but it's the entity of Allah. Allah himself is the one who's gonna left in the end of all of it. He's the one who's gonna stay. Only the one who's gonna stay at the last day. ذو الجلال والإكرام. And the last ayah, it says تبارك اسم ربك ذي الجلال والإكرام. Oh, bless the name of your Lord, Allah ذو الجلال والإكرام. And this is what we're gonna discuss now, is the name and the meaning behind it. So, ذي الجلال, Jalal means the majesty and the honor, something you really honor, and something in a very high state. التعظيم, العظمة, something very big. ذي الجلال, تمام. جل أجله, that you give him that honor, you give him this status, you give him this a high status. Okay. Al-Ikram, also an honor, but Al-Ikram is coming from the original of it in Arabic is karam. Karam is generosity. Okay. So he is Dhul Jalali wal Ikram. And when we mention Al for any type of word, Al Azim, Al Sami', Al Rahman, that means he is the most who's giving this thing. So he is the most generous, he is the most honorable in everything. Okay. So when we think about it, like how we can, and karam, by the way, is giving. So Allah also is mentioned in another ayah, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. So here is another thing that we need to pay attention is Allah, the name of it, ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. So he is the most generous, and he is the one who's given that. And he gave that to Bani Adam, to us. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا. He given us from this honor, from this generosity. He gave it to us, in all of us. By the way, remember, he mentioned to Bani Adam, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. So he gave it to everyone, Muslim and non-Muslim. Whether you are worshipper, whether you are kafir, whether you are everything, Allah already has given you takreem. Takreem also means honor. So it's something, when we think about it, is that Allah has given this honor for everyone, whether you do good or you do bad. And this is why it's very important to not disrespect anyone, whether he is Muslim, he's not Muslim, he's mushrik, whatever it is. Because Allah has given us this takreem, you should not disrespect or dishonor this type of person, whether any type of act he did. So keep in mind that if Allah has given us this takreem also, without doing anything, before we do anything, it's something to look at it to yourself, that I have this takreem. You should not do things or put yourself in places that it does not suit your honor that Allah has given you. And this is very important to think about. Sometimes we dishonor ourselves or disrespect ourselves by maybe bad relationship that harm us or disrespect us, or places that it does not suit us, or any type of things that it does not give us this respect or this honor. And Allah has given you that. So you need to remember to perceive it and keep it and honor it, and not to expose yourself to things that is not suitable for your honor that Allah has given you. Okay? So not to treat yourself with disrespect and not to treat other people with disrespect. Any type of financial, social status, any type of situation, any type of action they do, you need to remember that Allah Dhul Jalali wal Ikram has given them this Ikram. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. Keep reminded so you don't come and disrespect these kind of people that Allah has created. Okay? And it's another way to think about how we use it in dua. So, Dhul Jalali wal Ikram, Karam is generosity or giving also. It can has two meaning that Allah is the most generous. So when you think about something you want to pray Allah for or ask Allah for to be more, to have it more in your life, try to use the name of Allah Dhul Jalali wal Ikram. Ya Allah Dhul Jalali wal Ikram, give me more money, give me more friendship, give me more good relationship, give me more blessing. So try to ask Allah with His biggest name of generosity and use it. And again, how to see it in your life is trying to pay attention to the situation that you go through in your day, and you see generosity, whether in people interaction, whether in someone honoring himself, know his value, and appreciating himself. Try to see this that Allah is the main origin. As we mentioned, all the names of Allah, He is the one who's creating us, and He is the one who give us part of His soul. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. So part of us is from Allah. So know that the main origin is Allah, and Allah has given us from these beautiful things that He has, the generosity, honor, and so on. Okay? So always keep it in mind and try to pay attention to it. Try to respect everyone and avoid disrespecting anyone because Allah has given them this value. And first and most, respect yourself because Allah has given you this value and has given you this honor. Try not to disgrade this honor or do things or go places or have any type of relationships or anything that can disgrade or downsize this honor that Allah has given you. So always pay attention for this. And again, this is Tabaraka ismu rabbika dhil jalali wal ikram. This name is blessed. Allah is saying Tabaraka. This name of Allah is very blessed. So always try to use it. It's also gonna give you barakah inshallah, because Allah is saying that already this name has a blessing. So try to use it in anything. When you want something to be more, say Bismillah dhul jalali wal ikram. When you wanna say dua, Ya Allah, Ya dhul jalali wal ikram, give me this and this. Okay? And see it in all your life. So this is gonna be our session today. We finished Surat Ar-Rahman, alhamdulillah. It has many meanings and many deep thoughts. I hope that we can do reflection later on, or maybe when I have different or more awareness or more search on this surah, because I feel like every time you read it, you will find out different meaning, or you will have much beautiful things you didn't thought about, because it's so intense, it's so heavy, it has many information, but it's good to keep reading it. Subhanallah, you never know what type of messages you're gonna get out of it. and always use the name of Allah that we are mentioned. And inshallah, we gonna discuss. I'm gonna send a poll to see whether we're gonna start Surah Al-Qasas or Surah Yusuf. I'm gonna send the options, inshallah. Um, yeah. Um, I want to discuss more the stories of Prophet Sallallahu or the story of Yusuf alayhi salam or Musa. I think it's so beautiful, and Allah is mentioning أحسن القصص. It's the best stories. So I want to discuss it more. I feel like it has many wisdoms that we can use in our daily life. So inshallah, we can discuss that, and I'm gonna send it in the group, inshallah.